Welcome to the Bigg Success Show. Today, are you a full spectrum leader?
The Bigg Success Show with George and Mary Lynn.
We're so excited today to be talking to one of the biggest thinkers and one of the best singers that we know. Terry Starbucker, the blogger at terrystarbucker.com. Terry's been in the business world for over 27 years in various leadership positions all over the world, and most recently as a senior operations executive where he oversees thousands of employees.
Terry is also the co-founder of SobCon, one of the premier social media conferences in the U.S., and we can say that because we've been there more than once. Welcome to the Bigg Success Show, Terry.
Hey, you two. Good to talk to you.
We learned something about you, actually, recently. We didn't realize, and we think you may be the first guest that's ever actually worked for a pro football team who's been on our show.
Yes. Yes, I worked for the Washington Redskins for a while.
That's awesome.
And you were in a leadership position there.
Yeah, I was an SVP. We were working on the stadium project that eventually became FedEx Field today.
Oh, wow.
That was a great learning experience because I started dealing with things and issues in government and local cities and dealing with opposition and, trying to put a football stadium in somebody's backyard. You can imagine the salesmanship you needed to do.
Wow. I can't imagine. But apparently you made a touchdown. So
That's
there
right.
we go. But let's talk about your great ebook. It's a free ebook that you can get on Terry's site, terrystarbucker.com. And the ebook is called Leadership from a Glass Half Full.
Terry, you have your philosophy of half-fullism. My philosophy that fits me better is they call it half-wittism.
Well, that's my secondary.
But now in your ebook, Terry, and it's a fantastic read, it's a quick read, but you talk about full spectrum leadership, and we just love that. Could you tell our audience a little bit more about full spectrum leadership?
Well, when I talk about leading from a full spectrum, I see a spectrum as 180 degrees of being all the way on one side, which is being full of praise and perhaps even overly so, but recognizing good things that are happening and extraordinary performance, while completely on the other side of that is a side of management where not so good things are happening and you need to coach and you need to discipline and, in some cases, you may need to let somebody go. That's the other side of the spectrum. And what I have seen in my years of leadership and managing is that a lot of people like to reside in what I call sort of the middle, the comfortable middle, I call it. And on the surface, that sounds good because it's sort of an even keel, right? And everybody gets kind of treated in the same way. But underneath all that comfort is a lot of animosity and jealousy. The good performers are upset because they're not being recognized. The middle performers are wondering why they're not getting anything, while the ones that are basically messing up all the time are getting treated the same. And so it just creates these waves throughout the organization that it's really what I call an illusion. So managers really need to use that full spectrum.
And it's a very personalized approach. You're responding to what the person has done and what they need. Is that am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, exactly. It's never going to be one size fits all. You can't manage everybody the same way. You can't. Everybody's got a different personality, and good leadership is recognizing everybody's personality and adjusting your approach accordingly. Some people take well to basically giving them direction and leaving them alone. And a good manager has to recognize that, because if you push even where you think you're not micromanaging, that person will think you are, hey, leave me alone, I just need to do my job. Other people need a lot more attention. So it's never going to be a one-size-fits-all situation.
Your ebook, I just love it because, as you mentioned in the book, that companies aren't training managers. And so this ebook is comprised of lessons that you had to learn on the job and things that you wish people would have taught you along the way. So pick up Terry's free ebook at terrystarbucker.com. And Terry, along with the amazing Liz Strauss, you're the co-founder of SobCon, a great conference for successful online businesses. So our last question for you is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned on leading an event?
Wow. SobCon has been an adventure. Imagine getting all these great minds in the same room and giving it a little bit of structure, putting some people up by necessity in front of everybody else to sort of stimulate discussion, but just have them sit in a room for 2 days with all this mind power and see what they could do with their respective businesses by the end of it. And I think this is the great lesson I'm taking from SobCon about it, is that where a lot of people who thought they had a comfort zone about how they could express themselves or talk about their business or try to learn new things went beyond that. And they felt comfortable in that environment, stepping up and asking harder questions, or of either of themselves or other people, or a greater willingness to help and to assist, which are all leadership traits. So when I go back and forth between my day job, which you mentioned, is a service company, and it's nuts and bolts, and it's 1,100 people, and I have taken a lot of those lessons of creating those kinds of environments and ported them over to what I do during the day, and vice versa. So it's been very complementary.
Well, and if you want to learn more about SobCon, you can actually, Terry, just go to Terry's site, terrystarbucker.com, and right there at the top of his website, he's got a link that you can follow for SobCon Colorado, and then also for SobCon Chicago 2011. And SobCon Colorado coming up September 17th through 18th. Very cool.
All right. And we thank you so much, Terry, for sharing your wisdom and your time with us.
Well, thanks to the both of you. You are delightful people.
Aww.
And that I've had a pleasure to get to know through SobCon. And I certainly hope our friendship can go on for a long time.
Absolutely not.
We would become better friends, Terry, but then you wouldn't say we were delightful people. So.
I guess we'll just leave it at that.
And we're done.
There you go. And we thank you so much for listening today.
Until next time, here's to your big success.
The Bigg Success Show at BIGGsuccess.com.